Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is for you out there. And welcome to the official Season 2, Episode 1 of the Abnormal Hour. We have returned from the grave for about 2.5 years off the road. And this time we got some new and improved guests with us in this episode. Please feel free to introduce yourselves with a quick introduction, and then we'll go right to it.
Well, hello, listeners. My name is Hui Nguyen, and I will be joining Nikki for, the Abnormal Podcast today.
Hi, my name is Bridget, and I'll also be joining you guys.
I'm Tate. I'm not here at the studio. I am on the phone because I accidentally booked 2 different things because I got the times wrong because I'm stupid. So I don't know how long I'm going to be. I'm going to try and multitask because I'm eating dinner, talking with another group of friends and doing this. So let's see how this goes. I'm trying life on hard mode. So
we will see this we will get right to it. Within a few seconds, we're going to be talking about the concept of, you guessed it, bread. We will be right back in just a few. And here we are to the concept of the topping. I apologize for the introduction. We're going to be talking about the concept of bread. So, earlier this week, Tate and I have had a discussion, and a very small one, at the starting of bread. Oh, and my mic wasn't on that whole time. So there we go. Now we can hear it. So we're talking about the concept of bread. So, in case my mic was off, and if you didn't hear it, Tate and I were in a little topic earlier this week talking about how on earth was bread made. Do any of you have any ideas?
Okay, well, probably started from like wheat or something, or like farming.
Yeah, but Tate, explain your concept, which I like it.
Okay, so my idea is this. How did people one day look at like this weird bushy grain thing? Like, I know people already couldn't eat grass, but they look at this weird bushy grain thing and they decide, hey, look, I'm going to powderize this. Then I'm going to take this fungus, mix it in with this along with some water, and then see if it turns into something. I want to know like the mindset behind the first people, like thousands of years ago when we developed agriculture, to understand like why, the thought processes around it. It's fascinating.
Right. And it's interesting because this was thousands of years ago. This is also the question of how on earth did people build the Egyptian pyramids?
And Tate,
it's the same thing.
You're a history major, so I'm kind of not surprised you'd be interested in something like so fundamental to us. Because, the saying is always like, it's even better than like sliced bread, or it's even like that's your bread and butter, So where do you think that came from, right?
Right.
This also brings up the question, sort of what else have we as a species, like, not discovered? Like, future generations will look back and be like, it's so obvious. Why haven't they discovered it? Like, what would be our bread? Because bread is a very simple concept. It's a food that's fairly easy to make.
Yeah.
You just need to do it I say you need to do it right, and then I say it's very simple to make. But in a concept, it's fairly easy to make a decent bread.
Right.
But what is the thought process? Because there's still a lot of steps that go into it.
Well, there's like a lot of different types of bread too, right? And then in some cultures, they even would consider, stuffed bread that maybe we wouldn't. So probably depends, right? And also, like, in the modern world, bread has gotten, like, a lot more refined, from the original grain.
Right.
So
It's honestly now, because not too long ago, I've made bread before. I got my own kitchen.
Oh, what kind did you make, Nikki?
Well, it was more like pizza bread, though. But, but
it's still bread.
It's still bread. But the fact, even now I thought of this, when I was making the pizza bread, you'd mix, like, flour, water, yeast, and there's I believe there's another ingredient in there, but it wasn't fungus that I know of. And you just stir it up, let it rise for a certain amount of hours, maybe even 18 hours, put it back in, stir it up, or cut it into like pizza slices, or pizza whatever you call it, and then you let that sit for a few hours. Like, who thought of that? Like, let's just sit there, stare at it for like however many hours. And remember, thousands of years ago, as Tate was saying about fungus, though, like, who thought of the idea, like, let's just do fungus? Or back in the Egyptian days, let's carry this like 2-ton piece of brick all like from one area to the other and build this giant pyramid, probably about the size of like this college campus.
They just felt quirky.
Yeah, and thank you, Bridget, for doing the research here. And it said it was stated around 8000 BC in the Middle East, specifically Egypt. So I wouldn't be surprised though, because I have had Egyptian food, and it is pretty good.
Well, bread making developed like around the Fertile Crescent, I believe. That's sort of where it at least can be dated back. So like Egypt, Mesopotamia.
Right, within back then.
When the Native Americans developed agriculture at first, they didn't have any grains. The closest thing they had was corn.
Right.
And corn originally was made out of like 10 kernels. It was very hard. It was called teosinte.
Right, yeah.
So bread making as a whole has existed for thousands of years, which just fascinates me further.
It's super
Fun
fascinating.
Fact, I learned this in Dr. Schrag's history class, but
oh, that's right.
Oh wait, are you saying they made something similar from like maize and whatnot? Is that what you're saying?
They have made tons of things similar, and even back then, like, it's just like now as we're going on like with bread, though. Like, and if you ever, to all of you fellow podcast listeners that have listened to my Abnormal Hour stuff before, you remember one time I've actually had someone bring in a can of like American Mountain Dew. Like, who thought of that idea? Who thought of this idea? Who thought of bread? Like, who would say, yeah, like as Tate was saying.
Who thought of anything?
Yeah.
I mean, they were
But yeah,
starving.
another interesting thing is there's a monument in Turkey called Göbekli Tepe or something, and it's a very old like temple-looking structure, and it implies that before agriculture, humans had a sort of hunting like religion. So it makes you think of like different types of things that were invented.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, back to bread. What is the best type of bread in your opinion?
Ooh. Interesting.
I have a clear bias.
There is a clear bias though, but we'll get that to the next topic though. So right now we'll get to that one though, because you secretly unlocked the second segment of what we'll be talking about. Boom, mind equals blown. So we're gonna take a very quick break here, everybody, and we'll be right back for the second segment, which is about what kind of bread is your favorite, or what bread belongs in the most. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back, everybody, and hope you're all having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time it is for you out there. And welcome back to the second segment, which we'll be talking about what kinds of bread is the best, or what bread best belongs into. So as we talked about in the earlier segment, we talked about like the concept of bread, and now we're going to be talking about what is like the best kind of bread.
Okay, well, personally, I like sourdough the best, but what about you guys?
Sourdough?
Yeah.
Alright, so are any of you like familiar with the Vietnamese cuisine?
Yes.
Because clear bias, banh mi, the best bread.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't had it before, so I'll take your word.
It's like the crunchy outside and the very doughy inside.
Oh yeah, that
Yes,
sounds good.
that's a good kind of
That
bread.
sounds good.
Do you know, I have to go with white sourdough or potato bread. And fun fact about potato bread,
See, taste with
it was
me.
originally developed in the 1700s due to a very, like, decreased amount of wheat production, I believe in England. So these bakers, they were like, well, what do we do? Because we don't have enough flour to make bread.
Right.
So what they did was ingenious. They decided to dilute the bread by using potatoes.
Oh, potato bread is good. I will give you that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it tastes very similar to actual bread. In fact, it sometimes tastes even better.
Interesting. Well, I'll have to say my favorite, though, I don't really have one, but all I gotta say, though, is I'm sorry, not sourdough. Not sourdough.
It's all good.
Like, I don't get it. It was like, I want to bite into bread, of course,
Right.
like me, because I'm very ADHD, and my podcast is very ADHD. Like, but when are we talking about bread, for God's sake? Like, yeah, and like, when I bite into bread, I don't want it to, like, have that sour taste to it. Like, it ruins it. I'm trying, and I'm like, it's like, I'm super hungry, and I'm like, oh, exquisite bread, like, you know, like one of those fancy restaurants, and you try it, and it's sour. It's
So, you're
no.
saying you would eat, like, Sour Patch Kids as a
It's
snack,
zesty. That's what makes it
but
good.
not
It's
sourdough bread.
No. No. Still,
Bridget, wouldn't
it's
you have to agree it's the
zesty.
zest that makes it? It's the
Is it
zest.
what?
The zest that makes it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's like,
The zest.
especially when it's like, it's crispy on the outside. It's like, it's doughy in the middle. It's so good, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see the hype.
I don't see the hype either. You see, you and I, we get it. Here,
Exactly.
we're shaking hands
They
for that
get it.
one.
They
There
get
we
it.
go. Now that's a handshake right there. Because I just don't get it. But bread, though, here is the best thing that has ever happened to bread when it has become pizza.
Pizza, yeah.
Pizza. Come on.
Bread itself is good, but when it's mixed with other things, it becomes even better.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I don't
Yes.
know. I could eat bread just on its own, though. Like,
I mean,
I-
on its own, yeah.
Sometimes I have like bread cravings, like serious bread cravings.
Hey,
Same.
I did today.
Same.
I did today, but I'm like, but I want something more. So I had pizza. Literally not too long ago.
But how about garlic bread?
nice.
Garlic bread. Okay, now we're
Garlic.
talking.
Mm.
All
Or,
right,
like,
I'd
literally
like to
just
change-
make
I'd like to
toast.
change my answer.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'd like to change my answer to garlic bread.
See, I sparked something here. I got everybody on the same page.
You did. You really did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. With that, garlic bread is a very good one. I love garlic bread. I love pizza. What else do you think belongs on it? There's also like, what about Texas toast? See?
I mean, are you talking about like the frozen stuff or?
No. None of that frozen stuff.
No, just the real thing, you know?
The real Texas toast.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
I mean, like, it's heavy, but it's good. It's,
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat it, like, all the time, but it's good.
Yeah. It's not something you'd eat like religiously or 24/7, but once in a while, when you see it in front of you, it's gone. And not by yourself, because someone else took it.
No, what would be the worst type of bread though?
Mm.
I'm
The
pretty
worst?
sure. Well,
I don't know. I kind of
I'm
like
gonna
all
keep
of them,
that one to myself,
to
so
be
I don't
honest.
start another sourdough argument.
I feel like it's I think multigrain.
No, I like that one.
Well, here's the thing. Multigrain, though, I'd agree if it was on its own.
Yes.
Yeah, if it's
If
on
you
its
add like
own,
eggs,
it's pretty
eggs and
bad.
yeah, if you add eggs or butter or something onto it, it's actually not as bad as you
Like,
think.
if you toast it,
Yeah.
it's good, to be honest.
It's just
with
the
you.
sourdough is probably my ways. like I've said,
Okay.
it's a perfectly like good ass looking bread. You just gotta add the sourness to it. Come on, like, this isn't like Sour Patch Kids
So
or
you
a lemon.
just want, like, white plain bread. Like,
That-
Multigrain, white plate. I'm not picky unless if it's sour.
I'd say that's
it.
basic, but at the same time, science explains it. Like,
Science explains it.
right, like when you put like floury stuff in your mouth, it changes into sugar, and for
Yeah.
it to be sour, it just doesn't sound right.
but I mean, don't we
Absolutely.
eat, like, a lot of other sour things, though? Like,
I mean, yeah, like lemon, Sour Patch, Airheads. Or,
like
no, those Airheads Extremes, you know, those ones? Like, oh god, they are super sour.
so I think, you don't dislike sour. You just dislike the flavor, specifically, of sourdough bread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He just doesn't like the concept of sour on bread.
Yeah, it's like
So
sour
you
on
wouldn't
bread.
put like jam on bread?
Pineapple on pizza, which is a whole different debate that we'd be talking about for a few hours, but I'm going to say no to that.
Oh, so you...
I will also say no to that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just say yes or no without explanation. Yes to
Wow.
pineapple or no to pineapple on pizza.
Yes.
No.
Okay, and we're going to have a discussion on break, though, but we'll take that to it later. Absolutely. But yeah, besides that, pizza, all sorts of other goodies on bread is just, chef's kiss. We're going to go have we're going to have a quick break, and we're going to get on to segment 3, which will be the weather and some fun facts. So within that, we will take a quick break, and we will return, everybody, right after this. And we're back, everybody. I hope you all are enjoying this episode of Season 2, Episode 1. I have brought the Abnormal Hour back from its grave, which the last episode aired was in 2021, which I promised more episodes, but unfortunately I had a thing called work and school, so I had to cancel it. But that doesn't mean it's dead. It's back. And here we are back with the weather. The weather today around the world, as we always do in the Abnormal Hour podcast, is of each city around the world. And today we are choosing Seal Beach, California, all the way 2,000 miles out west of the United States. It is currently 59 degrees with a high of 61 and a low of 50 degrees. Humidity is 68% with the chances of rain is 2%, and the wind speed is 11 miles per hour. And the current time there, which over here is about 7:23 as we're recording this and live on air. It is currently 4:23 over there. So there's your weather of the day all around the world. Here we go, and we're going to start some facts that you did not know, and we'll have a discussion off of that. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to it. Did you know, first fun fact, that a single sneeze travels at 100 miles per hour and shoots over 100,000 germs into the air?
I did not know that.
I didn't know about the germs. I just didn't know about the...
Yeah, the sneeze is 100 miles per hour.
Jeez.
Wow.
That's faster than... Yeah, that's fast.
That's very fast.
Yeah.
I saw
Like,
it.
imagine you're just sneezing, like, you just think, oh, I sneezed at 100 miles per hour today. There's just like
that
how do
why-
they calculate that?
I don't know. That
No,
must
I
be
don't.
why they say bless you, though, right? They're like, hey, what's wrong with you?
No, yeah, why do they say bless
Like-
you when you sneeze?
Well, they don't say bless you everywhere. Like, I know in Japan they don't say bless you.
Yeah, and I know sometimes they say Gesundheit, which in German is actually, here's another fun fact, it's actually German for bless you. When people say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm an
Gesundheit.
atheist, so I'm just gonna say Gesundheit," you're just saying bless you in German. So,
Yeah,
no offense. Okay.
Not familiar with that. In my culture, if you sneeze, we'll laugh at you.
Oh. Hey,
Yeah.
that's a fun fact for you.
Yeah. My Japanese teacher, she was telling me basically like, you know, if you do it a few times, people might be like, "Are you okay?" But nothing like "bless you."
All right, so here's one that I was like, whoa. It is impossible to hum while holding your nose. Go ahead. Try it.
Well, I can't do it.
Oh,
Ah!
I think when you hum, you actually
Yeah, 'cause
exhale.
Well, it's actually when you say the letter like M, that's actually technically humming.
True.
So, like if I say M as an and then I clog my nose like this, done.
Because when you hum, you actually exhale through your nose.
Right.
If you also close your mouth and block your nose as well, there's no way for air to travel out.
Even if your mouth is open, you can't do that.
So can you like sing and hold your nose at the same time?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
You'll just sound very
Hi.
nasally.
Like Squidward.
There we go. And
Nice.
now on to the next fact. Your stomach acid is strong enough to dissolve metal.
Well, I guess that makes sense because when you hear about like iron deficiencies and whatnot.
Very true.
You have iron in your body.
Yeah, you do have iron in your body. Like, you ever seen like X-Men where Magneto like literally gets iron out of someone's body to literally escape a prison? Because he was trapped in a plastic prison. And the way he could escape is when a guard came by and Magneto uses his powers to get iron out of the guy's body.
Wasn't it like the coin thing?
Yeah, well, not the coin thing. The same way. Well, the part where he like has all the metal like from the body and turns it into this spear, and steps on it and goes across and escapes.
Oh, right.
That is what I'm talking about. That's how we know we have iron in our body.
I see.
From that movie alone, we may never know.
Movies can be very educational.
Yeah, if you hold up a magnet to like some cereal or like some foods with iron in it, I heard that it might actually like be able to pick it up. Is that? Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Yeah.
Now, I'll ask you a question with this, and I'll see if you know the answer. The average lifespan of an MLB baseball is just what? How many pitches?
Well, I wouldn't know. How about you guys?
Like from like a national baseball game. How long? Like how many pitches would it last?
It's either a very small number or a very big number.
I have no idea. So.
I would say 13.
Ooh, 13. Interesting. What do you think?
I don't know.
It's actually 7.
7.
Because the baseball, like an average throw would be like around like 90 miles per hour, 80, 90 miles per hour. So think of a baseball being chucked at within that constant speed all the time.
So it really just can't last very long. Wow.
Yeah.
It's still slower than a sneeze.
It's still slower than a sneeze. Come on. I can sneeze faster than you can pitch. Come on.
Exactly.
Average
Very
baseball
true.
player.
You can flex that to your MLB playing friends.
Very true.
Absolutely. Well, let's see another fact for you. That apple you buy in a grocery store could be over a year old.
This I do believe as fact.
I'd honestly believe it at this point.
Yeah,
Like-
because they like growing trees.
I mean, they put preservatives and stuff on it, you know?
Yeah, to
Maybe
keep it
just
going.
sit on the shelf for like a few years. Who cares?
Yeah, true. But it's weird though, because the moment you put like preservatives or whatever, and you last a year, and then the moment it's in your counter, it lasts like 3 days.
Very true.
But it still looks very glossy.
It's very glossy. Like
Yeah.
like an actual apple doesn't always look that glossy.
No.
No, it doesn't look like something out of a Hallmark movie. It looks like something like a regular like apple. Like
Grow your own
not-
apples
not-
if you don't want waxy apples.
I mean, I will admit that like that's why sometimes when I eat apples, I remove like the kind of the shell part
The skin.
because it's just too waxy.
Yeah, I mean, it does have nutrients in it, but if there's also chemicals, then yeah, maybe remove it.
Maybe it's not worth it.
It's not
Yeah.
worth it. Just eat the apple as a whole. Apple's my favorite food. Fuck.
Yeah,
And here's
apples are
a
good.
bonus fact. The sticker that they put on apples and fruits are edible.
Yes, very
Wow.
true.
That's crazy.
So I'm not encouraging you, to all of my podcast listeners out there, to eat them like that. But if somehow you accidentally be like, oops, I accidentally ate the sticker off an apple,
You're fine.
you're fine. And they had to do that. So, yeah, absolutely. So we'll get on to the last and final fact. We'll take a quick break. And we'll be right on to the next segment. Okay. Tomatoes were not native in Italy until at least the 16th century.
Very interesting.
You know where it actually came from?
South America?
In the Americas, yeah.
Was it in North America?
Either Americas. Because, you know, like, you all think the stereotype of Italians is like they have tomatoes, like, for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, and snack. Well, as a like half Italian myself, I can neither confirm nor deny that. I don't even know at this point. But yeah, it actually came from the Americas.
Wow. I think it's when no, I forgot his name. He's so famous. No, wait, I'm blanking. No, 1492. What is his name? Columbus.
Oh, Columbus.
Yeah.
When he got over here, he brought a bunch of stuff back to Europe.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
Right.
Columbus brought a lot of stuff back. He's like, hey, this stuff's cool. Brought it back to Europe. So there's a history back.
Tate would go so crazy over that.
Tate would go crazy. If he was on the phone right now again, because he unfortunately had to go, I'm sure he could go a whole history fact for you. So we're going to take a quick break here and go on to the next segment, which will be just chit-chat for about 10-minute chit-chat. So we'll be back, everybody. Stay tuned. All right, 28. And we are back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the so far of this episode of the Abnormal Hour, which today our concept talk is bread. That's right. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Now we're going to get on to the next segment, which will be just a nice chit chat about, we can even include bread in it because that's our topic episode.
So what made you guys so interested in bread today?
You know, honestly, I wasn't even thinking about talking about bread tonight.
Until Tate brought it up and piqued
Yeah.
our interest.
Tate
And
was
piqued our
just
interest because he
thinking
thought
about bread.
he thought about the whole philosophical talk of bread.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. How about you guys out there? If any of you are listening, do you guys have any opinions on bread? Anybody? Awesome.
You know, bread is a very controversial topic.
Bread is a
sometimes.
very controversial topic.
be.
It's the next political debate of
No,
2024.
not to get too political for you guys, but you know, bread.
You see, let's get on to that. So, at our college campus, which I won't disclose, but on our campus, well, to any other listeners outside of our university, so there would be a lot of protests and stuff on campus for any reason, and I won't exploit any of what they said to avoid any political talk. But I would always margin and ask the most random question that was not even related to what they were talking about. Like there's one time there was like an abortion protest, and I go up and I say, hey, look, I don't mean to be political or anything, but what in the hell is oatmeal?
I mean, it's a fair question.
And I got them all, the speaker included, to change their topic to the concept of oatmeal. And they're like, what? I don't even know. What is oatmeal? Like, do you eat it for like breakfast? Do you like, is it like a type of microphone? What are you talking about here?
So, I mean, like,
A type of microphone. Like, it got them completely off topic. It was fantastic, and I love doing that. Like, another one I asked...
Nikki breaks up conflicts at campus by talking about oatmeal.
about oatmeal, and that's another one where I thought...
It's actually an ethical way to do it.
Very
It is.
true, very true.
It is an ethical way to do it, and there's actually a psychological study where they did an experiment of sending like someone into a subway train station in New York City, and what he did was he observed to see if there's any like fights going on, and somehow there was a fight that broke out. And what he did was he just grabbed the sandwich, ate it, and walked through the both of them fighting, and they stopped. It's very interesting because that's how you know, like, with a bunch of arguments that would happen, that's a way to stop it. Just to ask the most random question, like another protest happened, and I came up and I said, "All right, like, how did someone think of the idea of making a car?"
So, like, how come you do that? You just want to kind of, like, break it up, or you just
not to break it
like,
up per
not
se.
Not in the mood to have that,
well,
or
not exactly to break it up, not exactly to that, but to lower the heat, as I call it.
So, like, if people like they want to argue about something, you know, you're not for that, you know.
It depends. But if you can tell, like, if it gets out of hand, you just go up and say, "Hey, think of this. Did you know that a cucumber is? You know, a pickle is actually pickled cucumber?"
You know, it's kind of funny you're talking about the abortion protest because one of my teachers was like, "Hey, that's not a good topic to have, you know, in the classroom." And
yeah, it's all that.
so it's
but
kind of it's kind of interesting you brought that up, you know.
It's everything about that is interesting. Even bread, you name it. Like,
right.
Yeah. Do you guys know the video game called I Am Bread?
Yes.
Yeah, oh my god, that game actually made me rage so hard because literally you are a piece of bread and you move your controls to move around the kitchen, and the moment you slip, you are raging hard.
Your objective, hear this, your objective is to get into a toaster and become toast. That's your objective.
Literally. Like, your objective is to become toast. That is literally it.
But
That's
you control the limbs that they have is the four corners of a piece of bread, and you control them individually.
Yeah, it's super like weird, but yet interesting.
Would you guys like to be a piece of bread?
You know, in life, well, let's think of this. In life, if I was a piece of bread, I'd actually not want to become a piece of bread. Why? Because I'd have to be in a toaster and go through an scorching amount of heat to become tan.
Would you be alive though? I don't think you'd be alive. If you're
No.
a piece
You
of-
wouldn't be alive.
You
I don't
wouldn't
think
be
you'd
alive.
feel it.
Like, if I decided just to like build a giant toaster and put myself in it, I'd probably die.
You'd probably die.
You
Yeah.
would die before you enter someone's mouth.
Very true.
You'd be toast.
Yeah, exactly.
Ha! Ha!
So I guess we should
Toast.
probably. I guess we
You'd
should
be-
probably change the subject because I think I burnt that one. But
I love it.
Dad jokes.
as you can see, I'm not getting invited back here. So enjoy me while you have me, folks.
Of course, you're always welcome on this podcast show, and to all you listeners too. It's all good.
I literally crashed his radio show one time, and I just get invited back every time.
I know, absolutely. You always are invited back every time.
I'm just kidding. So is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I was just about to bring that up because I'm thinking we're talking more about I Am Bread and the fact that the YouTuber named Markiplier, if any of you know who he is, literally broke his controller because he was climbing up on the counter and then, like, I don't know, something didn't work and the piece of bread fell
It just
off.
fell. It lost all its grip.
It lost all of its grip and he literally went like that.
And speaking of climbing up and rage, the same YouTuber also raged as this game called
I think I know what you're talking about.
Getting Over It.
I have played Getting Over It too, and I'd have to say that probably might be the game I've raged at the most.
I got to the table with the orange, and I could not get any higher.
Yeah, for any of you listeners that do not know what the game is, you are literally a person in a bag. You are a person that's literally on this plastic piece of bag, and you have this sledgehammer, and within each turn, you click like your mouse on your computer, and you move it around until it reaches an area where you can have a grip for the sledgehammer. You bring it up, and you just keep doing that until you reach a certain height. And I don't think there is a limit, is there?
There is a limit. There's an ending to the game.
Oh, that's right.
There is an ending, and the person is inside a cauldron for.
Are you talking about the same kind of limits as in like calculus or?
Oh,
Oh,
God.
oh, God, no.
God. Oh,
Oh no,
God.
that's not what you
Way
guys
to
wanted
bring
to
Don't
talk
even
about.
my
get-
nightmare.
You see, this is supposed to be a fun podcast, not about calculus.
Oh, I am having fun. I mean, sorry you're at your limit though. Just
You
kidding.
know, this is my nightmare every single week.
That's my nightmare every single week. I actually did. Speaking of which, last night before like the podcast like today started, I actually had a dream about bread.
You had a dream about bread.
Yes,
Really?
I did.
Why?
Well, let me tell you why.
I gotta know now.
So I had a dream that I was making myself a pizza, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while I was
Right.
making this pizza, like a piece of bread came up to me and it literally said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What are you doing to my brother?" Like, what do you mean?
Nikki, you need to think about bread rights, you know? That's what the dream is telling you.
Bread lives matter.
They do.
Exactly.
Hey, that's what I learned in that dream. I woke up and I said, "Oh my goodness."
Bread, it comes from a grain, which is a living thing.
Yeah. Technically, we're actually related to it. Well, we're related
You
to
are
anything.
what you eat. You are a piece of bread. You are a
Exactly.
pizza.
You are a piece of bread.
That's why they say that. You are what you eat.
Do you
because we're
want to
tech-
live your life as a piece of bread? Do you
Well,
want to
we're
become
actually-
toasted? Like, think about that.
Well, we're actually closer related to mushrooms.
Fungi.
Fungi. Yeah. Oh, I ain't making no dad jokes, but I was about to say a dad joke.
Say it.
Yeah, you know I am a fun guy.
Right.
It took a minute.
Nice.
Fake laughter. And I know all of you listeners out there that are listening are truly enjoying this. So we're going to take a quick segment break and we'll get right back on to chatting, everybody. Stay tuned. And we are back, everybody. I hope you're all enjoying the Normal Hour Season 2, Episode 1. It was just this segment I want to talk about what's been new since the last episode aired, why I had to stop, and what's going on right now. So if you guys want to contribute to the conversation, you're more than welcome to if you want to add to something. So after the last episode aired, I was also working while taking a summer class. During that time, I only aired 2 episodes. They're actually still available on Spotify. If any of you out there and you two want to listen to, they are all literally about rambling on. We rambled on for a literal hour.
We need like a wiki page for all the episodes.
Absolutely. I can even send them to you right after this as well. But afterwards, I just couldn't keep up with it. I'm like, I can't. I love this podcast, but I have to work and I have to take these classes.
You have things to do.
I
You're
have
on the
things to
Sigma
do.
grind.
I had to go on the Sigma grind, and
You had the masculine urge to grind.
I had to.
Yeah.
Oh man, that
yeah.
masculine. I had a voice crack there.
To
What?
grind grades to make bread?
Excuse
Is that
what's
what you... To grind grades to make bread, right? That's what you're talking about, right?
Oh god, and so I had to work and all. I'm like, oh man, I can't. I wish I could, but I don't think I can. I don't think I can do this. So I had to step out of the Abnormal Hour for a while. And then over winter break, I posted on the Abnormal Hour Instagram, which you're all more than welcome to follow. By the way, the Abnormal Hour on Instagram. And over winter break, I said, you know what? I could publish another episode. And then a semester began, and I'm like, no, I can't. And then the summer came along, and now here, and I'm like, why don't I just merge it onto a show I've been having on radio. So now, not only you guys can participate on the phone as well, which I will always post the number before the show begins. And then now, look at that. And right now, to all of you that are listening, Bridget is currently working on calculus.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just having too much fun here. I don't mean to. Yeah. Here, I'll show you if you don't mind.
Oh my god.
To any of you that can't see what she's doing, it does not look pretty. That is all I am going to say.
It's straight lines and squiggly lines.
Squiggly lines, straight lines, and letters.
Yes.
Study your calculus.
Letters
if you want
plus
to do well
letters
in school.
plus
Stay in
numbers.
school, kids.
What topic are you on?
Derivatives.
Great.
Can you explain to everybody what derivatives are?
Derivatives are all about slopes. So, say you have the line like y equals 1. The whole slope is just 0. So you would just graph a line at y equals 0. That would be like the derivative, just 0. Yeah, it's a pretty cool subject.
This is
to
why
learn about.
This is why I threw a party after I was done with math.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I like to learn about math every day.
You know, I
It
don't
really
know.
just adds up.
I don't know. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
You're feeling 22.
I'm feeling 22.
You're feeling 22?
I'm feeling 22.
I mean,
Feeling 22?
I'm 19, but
I mean,
I'm barely 19.
you should be talking to me though. I am older than 19. I'm going to be 22 this year. So.
Old.
are you feeling 22?
Yeah, you call me old.
Old.
Oh, you young whippersnappers.
Hey, watch your tone, young man.
Watch,
Young man.
Yeah.
watch your tone, ancient grandfather.
Don't give me that attitude, young man. Okay?
What kind of attitude do you think I'm giving off here?
Just telling us we're, younger than you. Like, you think you have some kind of authority or something.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Abs-
kidding.
He stopped.
I'm just
I thought
he stopped himself.
I stopped myself because I thought I was about to say something else, but I decided it was good to keep it.
Just abs.
He knew
Abs-
I was joking.
Apps.
Are you guys talking about, like, absolute value? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh God. Apps. Apps.
Yes.
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 Apps.
You got, let me
Apps.
give you a quick quiz. You remember what absolute value is, Nikki?
Far from it.
What about you, Hui?
I absolutely do remember.
What is it?
It is the distance of the number inside the absolute value
The
signs
distance of bread.
from 0 to that number.
Awesome.
I'm surprised
awesome.
you didn't hear what I
It
just
can't
said.
be negative, which is the
It
key
can
point.
never-
folks.
You did not hear what I just said.
What did you say?
I said the absolute value is the value of bread.
What is the value of bread?
It's
Fun
bread
guy.
minus 0,
Nice.
Yes.
right?
Nice.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Exactly.
It's exactly precisely bread minus 0.
Bread minus 0.
Yep, you hear it from here, folks. You hear it from here.
You hear it from here. You hear it from there. You hear it from everywhere. I am bread. The bread movement. The bread of 87.
And I really don't want to get political here, but BLM, Bread Lives Matter.
It's true. It's very true.
True.
It's what it stands for.
He always speaks the truth here.
I spit all truth, folks.
He is
Truth,
a civil
the whole
rights
truth.
icon here on campus.
I am an idol.
We're
For
gonna
civil
all go up
rights.
and onto campus and bring in pieces of bread and just be like, we support our bread. Stop killing grain.
Stop killing
And we will fight with toasters.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But what if it's raining outside?
we will go down with toasters.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Like, if it's like raining outside and you got toasters out, it's like, all right, let's like you get zapped. You get zapped and it's like, oh god, that's a lot of fun. Just imagine that. Like, what if we just walked outside right now and just saw, like, all right, let's go. We'll take a quick break here. We'll talk about a question that I'll bring up. We'll stay tuned, everybody. And we are back, everybody. I hope you all are doing well tonight. Where the question we will be asking on the last segment of the podcast is this: what would be the weirdest protest without being political? What would be the weirdest protests you could ever see?
That's a hard question because I've seen a lot of weird ones.
Well, like ones that aren't typically like meant to be protested.
No, I've seen that too, though. Have you guys ever seen like the Birds Aren't Real movement?
Well,
Ooh.
I actually on season 1, episode 1, I had somebody come on a show that was an avid believer of that.
Wow. So
A
what was their
flashback.
reasoning to sort of back that up?
And it said is like the government's watching us with that.
So they're basically saying, okay, I see a bird, but it's not really a bird. It's something else.
It's like kind of like a microchip in it. That's kind of what.
Right. Kind of like a robot.
Yeah,
Right.
I had somebody
They're
who was
all
an avid
androids.
believer.
Kind of
They're
a
all
1984
androids.
moment.
I have an
right.
Android.
I have an Android.
Hey! Shout out to all you Android users out there.
I have an iPhone, but
Ew.
Sorry.
Shout out to all you iPhone users too. I love you all. But yeah, what would be the? All right, I got one. All right,
Okay,
All
let's
right.
hear it.
all right. Here, the one is: are keyboards real?
No.
Would that be that would probably be a weird protest. Like people say keyboards aren't real, or I'm not gonna get to the moon landing one because
How
that's
about-
one's an actual protest.
Yes, that's an actual
Like one that is not a protest, but would be the weirdest one.
grass brutality.
Grass fatality. Can you explain to the listeners what like?
Why is there a machine made that's literally called a weed whacker?
So what do you guys think? Any ideas?
I was thinking about, all I can think of is brutality.
Brutality.
We made all of this stuff that it's been containing us to go through so much, through storms, through tornadoes, and we just live under them without a care in the world.
I think
True.
a weird one would be like stop wearing shoes. Or like
Stop wearing shoes.
or like stop wearing
shoes. No. What is?
or like stop wearing socks.
Stop wearing
No, I have not seen any protests against like Honda Civics at 3 a.m. because you always hear them roaring out. There should be a protest saying, "Turn off your Honda Civics.
Turn off your Honda Civics.
Turn off your Honda Civics."
Why just Honda Civics?
Because like, oh god, like, point of view, you're trying to sleep, and then you hear. Like, like all those people that has like those straight pipe cars where like all their exhaust system is like completely straight.
Oh, or what if there was a protest and it was like, okay, no more speaking in schools, like singing only. And your entire lesson is just through song, like in a Disney
Well, that's
movie.
just an average choir class.
what I like to someone who's never been in choir. Like no, I'm talking like literally everything. Like everything.
I would take myself out of that because
Yeah,
I
I would.
was in choir.
No, that would not be the greatest idea. Yeah. Another one I would have to say was like, that's also bad. I probably shouldn't say that.
What is
terrible? Why?
Is every single thing you think of is terrible.
I don't know, because like I realized like, oh, this is something funny, and then you realize, wait, that's actually terrible. Stop buying computers.
Stop buying computers. I feel like some people would actually say that though.
Some
I'm not
people
gonna
actually
lie.
would. Oh, it's actually like video games and everything. Blah 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 blah. Or stop making bread.
Stop making bread.
Now, I don't think this one is a political one, but it actually exists.
What?
And it was the whatever they call it. It's the bullying and extermination of gingers that they had back in
God.
the day.
Oh no.
It actually exists.
To all of you listeners out there that are ginger, we love you. Don't worry.
We really love
Don't
you.
listen to that.
Don't worry about it. There's a I do know there. That's not.
Or have you guys heard of this was kind of a troll, but the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster?
Yes, the church is the flying spaghetti
yeah.
monster. Can you explain to the listeners what that is?
Well, it was actually kind of a troll to test religious rights in the U.S. So they made like the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster to see if they would actually respect that as a valued like religion. But it's not a real religion, and you can actually look it up. And they have a thing where they wear like pasta strainers on their head and all. My history teacher told me about it once.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. And yeah, it came out as a troll. There's also another religion that comes from the movie Big Lebowski, if you know that, called Dudism. Where
What?
literally all you do is just like the dude abides, man. You just chillax. You just enjoy. You just sit there. You're already like wearing like a bathrobe and like sunglasses, and you're drinking like coffee and smoking a cigarette, and just be like, this is how life's just gonna be, man. That's basically Dudism.
Their Bible is probably the bro code book.
The bro code. That's probably what it is. But it's actually funny though, because there's actually a website for it if you want to. And you can actually be ordained as a Dudist priest to marry. And I actually did it. I did the survey a year ago, and now I am ordained as a Dudist priest. Well, a Dudist minister.
Don't mean to get political or anything, but are Dudists allowed to marry each other?
Well, if Dudists are allowed to be married to each other, they have to be married by a Dudist like ordained person. So technically, I have the ability to marry people that are Dudist.
Wow.
Technically. Because
Nice.
all you did was a 5-minute survey, was your name, your number, and your address. You didn't pay for anything.
So like.
No, not your address, just your name, your email. That's
So is it like dudes and dudettes, or are they all just
Yeah.
dudes?
You just go, I've watched a video on YouTube, and all it is like, hey there. Hey, all you dudes, dudettes. Tonight, we're going to be taking this chillax and talking about dudes. Because we just vibe like that, man. That's literally all it is.
And they have a choir and a
They have
singer.
a choir. I'm pretty sure they'd have a choir.
They have a choir.
Where's
going
this guy
on at the
from?
end.
Do you know?
I have no... Well, it's from the movie Big Lebowski.
Oh,
Like, you
okay.
know, the actor Jeff Bridges.
No,
He was the villain in like Iron Man 1, but he's in it, and literally that movie is all about like some guys steal his rug, where he's literally in nothing but a bathrobe and like sunglasses like half the movie, and all he does is go on an adventure just to look for the rug.
Wow.
That's all the movie is, and it's fucking phenomenal.
It does sound very hippie.
It's pretty cool though. I honestly not gonna lie. So everybody, yeah, that's been very interesting. We'll get right back to the conclusion. Everybody, stay tuned. And we wrap it up today with the conclusion of season 2, episode 1 of the Abnormal Hour. We did talk about a lot today, which our topic was bread, which we talked about that. We also talked about fun facts and the weather in Seal Beach, California. And also we talked about dudism, weird protests, and all sorts of stuff like that. So first off, even though Tate was on the phone for a little bit, I like to thank him for coming on as well. I like to thank you two for coming on as well. This is may not be a popular historical thing, but this is historical for the Abnormal Hour. So thank you all for being a part of the history of it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Absolutely. And thank you all for listening to season 2, episode 1 of the Abnormal Hour. Stay tuned for the next episode, which should be coming out. And yeah, it should be coming out next week, though. And I thank you all for coming, and I will see you all next time on the Abnormal Hour. Stay tuned, everybody.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening, guys.